It's raining a little bit. I think that's how most zombie movies start. Hey everybody, Mikeycat Outdoors here. So what are we doing today? We're at the Eagle Cliff Nature Preserve and Miles Cemetery. It's kind of between Valmeyer, Columbia, and Waterloo, Illinois. And it's situated on top of a bluff. It's a very historic cemetery, dating all the way back to 1806. There's a little bit of history behind this place. In the 60s and 70s there was a lot of vandalism, a lot of hard work's gone into cleaning this place up. There are GoFundMe accounts for helping the place out. So we're just going to check it out, see how everything's improved since some of the footage I've seen online from KSDK, and do a respectable, you know, montage of what's all out here, and let's check it out. There's a lot of history in the cemetery. There's people buried here from 1806 up through the 70s. One thing to duly note, do not come out here after dusk, because they will arrest people. They have video cameras. They had so much vandalism. They had bodies being taken out of the mausoleum and burned, all sorts of stuff back in the old days, in the 60s and 70s. And I mean, there was some really bad stuff that happened out here. So definitely pay reverence to the dead, be respectful at any cemetery. And you know, these are people's ancestors, and I mean, even up through the 70s, people being buried out here. There's, you know, somebody's relatives out here. You see there's a lot of stones where there's just little pieces of them that are left over, in between age and wear and vandalism and everything. You know, some of the stones are a little nicer. There's still some visitors out here. A couple come up behind me. I wasn't sure where to park at first. I walked up and there was a little house at the end of a little drive, and I didn't know where to park, so I just parked there for a little bit, walked up, came back, and I saw that there was a parking area up in the middle of the cemetery. So there was a couple of us there. You can see people still, you know, put out flowers and, you know, remember their loved ones here. Up there at the edge of the cliff is the mausoleum that was designed by Mr. Miles. He passed away, let's say a few weeks or a few months before he got it finished. So they kind of had him waiting. They were preparing everything. Mr. John C. James passed away in 1842 at the age of 32 years. He's buried right there. And it looks like a daughter died in 1842, age 18. Is buried here. So these are people's families. Always pay respect and reverence when you're in a cemetery. This is definitely hallowed ground. Right in the middle of the walk path here, there's actually bases where old gravestones used to be. That doesn't look like they're here anymore. So you can see there's ones that are broken off. It's forgotten history here. Another grave here. Person born in 1815, died in 1856. William G. Garrettson. Rest in peace.
I think you're sticking in paper, Dad.
Here we have Revolutionary War patriot James Garrettson, 1746 to 1797. Marker was placed here by the Whiteside Station chapter in September of 1998. Thank you for your service to our country, Mr. Garrettson. I hope you're resting well. For miles and miles, it's all miles. That was a saying the Miles family had. They own the property up here. They own the property down below. Mr. Miles helped design the mausoleum. Here lies gravestone for Truman Miles. Born 1800, died 1846, 46 years old. And Lois, his wife, born 1803, died 1861. This is the top of the mausoleum. It's definitely a unique architecture here. You can see where there's like a path to get up top. And the ledge all the way around. Definitely video cameras to make sure nobody's desecrating this land. And down below, there was supposedly Indian burial ground around here. It's definitely a beautiful place. The sun came out, the rain clouds are off in the distance. So as you can see, there are some new cemetery plots here. This one's from 2017, so they actually opened this back up. Got a sundial on top, which is really quite interesting. You have a number of other newer grave plots up here right at the end. (2010). Got some 1885, 1897, 1945, some others mixed in here. 1946 and a 2021. So there's a few plots. Looks like there's additional room out here. The base of a couple of stones mingled in here. But there's some room still out at the cemetery. Very beautiful and tranquil out here. So what do you think of this up here?
Very cool. Very cool. I've been sitting out here for a while.
Very tranquil out here, isn't it?
My shirt is about to blow away.
So we're actually on top of the mausoleum right now, looking out at the distance. Rain clouds in the distance. As you can see, is safety cameras, and we're on top of the actual stone building. All these metal things that are poured in here holding the stones together. That's wild the way they built that.
Think you could support 120 pounds?
I don't know, I wouldn't want to test it. Down here near the bottom of the mausoleum, there's just different stones out here. I don't know if these are all broken parts of gravestones and some other
Or they could be from that.
new stones for stuff, or if they're just for repair of the mausoleum. But here we are. Restoration of this historic site was made possible by the generous donation from Orville J. Schmidt in memory of Josephine Schmidt, founder of the Miles Cemetery Association, July 22nd, 1964. So this looks more respectable than pictures I'd seen in the past. This is actually cleaned up. There's no graffiti all over it like there was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, even up through the 90s. Beautiful architecture. But they cleared out whatever remaining casks were in the mausoleum years ago, but they never filled it up. I think there was 57 or 75 slots in there. They're coming to get you, Barbara. So my little helper and I are gonna go view the inside of the mausoleum. Don't know how much graffiti's still in there. I think they cleaned up a lot of it from some of the more recent reports and videos I've seen. But it's just a sad story that I heard that, you know, they actually had people break in, take bodies out, burn them. There were people going in there when they were kids, you know, in the 60s, 70s and whatnot, and they were finding like human jaws with teeth and skin still attached and other bone parts. And eventually I think SAU Carbondale had some folks take those remaining pieces out and reinter them elsewhere, give them a respectable burial. But yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever really going to get buried in this again. I know there was also the wrought iron gate that surrounded the cemetery. They're wanting to try to refund to make a new one. So there is a GoFundMe for that. I think it's 25 or 35,000 they're trying to raise, and they maybe only got a couple thousand so far. So I'll try to find a link for that and post it out there if you're interested in donating. This is all public donations from just people. So it's not like the counties or anything are really paying for it. Well, we're gonna go see what this is all about here. Definitely hallowed ground. It's a lot better cleaned out than all the pictures I had seen online. There was another photographer that had come in here probably a decade ago, and this had so much graffiti in it. Up top?
Yes.
I don't know. I think a chandelier or something could have hung from there at one time. This is wild. The architecture in the building here, and the fact that that holds our weight on top. This is wild. This is crazy to think there were actually people buried in here at one time. These are really small. It's a really beautiful view out there. Yeah, folks, it's definitely gonna rain. It's definitely looking dark out here. Here's a poor tombstone that didn't fare so well. That's one of the bad things when cemeteries get old and when people come through and desecrate. I'm not sure which happened here, but it'd be nice to get these restored. So some of these are so tiny you can't even tell who's buried here anymore. There's a bunch of them in this section like this. They're just so tiny. They're like the size of a notebook at most. That's sad. Here we have a memorial for Elijah Axley, militia, War of 1812. He died in 1855. They put down a new placard for him. As you can tell, time is not so good with the old headstones. Many of them made out of limestone, sandstone, things of that nature. Newer granite ones hold up a lot better, but they too will succumb to the weathering of time. So here's a tree with broken remnants of various gravestones out here lining around it.
Oh, and this too.
And this little paved area with parts of gravestones that were broken off and vandalized over the years. Ancestors deserve a lot more respect than they're given. The Eagle Scout project from Nick Trottier in July 2006. Columbia Boy Scout Troop 320. People are lost forever in time. Now, if I had my wishes, I would like to be cremated and have my ashes scattered over the Grand Canyon. Just be one with nature. We're going to say goodbye to this hallowed ground. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this and learned something from it. Everybody, if you like what you've seen, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and definitely be respectful of grave sites and historical places. So, catch you guys again, yeah.